What you're about to hear has the potential to flip your internal switch. And maybe that's why some people give up halfway through. Because in a way, it's easier to keep living on autopilot than to face the weight and the power of knowing that everything you need is already inside of you. This video is a warning because it carries simple yet unsettling truths, and once you hear it, you can't unhear it. You'll start to notice things that have always been there, but went unnoticed. You'll begin to feel restlessness and maybe a strange force starting to stir inside of you. That force is your life energy. We're talking about that feeling that pulses when you're alive, inspired, fully present. That spark in your eyes when you're doing something you love. This energy exists, and it's real. But here's the catch. Most people live with this energy system on eco mode, as if it's always on standby. Not because they lack the capacity, but because they lack awareness. Because of fear, social conditioning, because they're tired. What makes this content so powerful isn't what it promises to do for you. It's what it activates in you. This video won't give you superpowers. It'll remind you of the powers you forgot you had. And now here's the most important part. You need to be willing to feel discomfort. Because accessing your hidden energy isn't about feeling zen all the time. It's about facing your blockages, your shadows, and still moving forward. The approach here is simple. You watch until the end, allow yourself to be challenged, and truly apply what's possible in your routine. No magical promises, but real results. You in? Then take a deep breath. Get ready. And come with me, because this is the beginning of something big. Have you ever had that feeling that you could be doing so much more than what you're doing today, but something's holding you back? Have you ever felt like there's a force inside of you, almost like an inner voice, calling you to be more, live more, feel more? That's not your imagination, it's your hidden energy trying to manifest. But here's the truth that few have the courage to face. Most of our potential is asleep, and not because we don't want to use it, but because we've learned to ignore it. This energy isn't something you need to seek out. It's not in a sacred place, nor in a secret technique. It's already there inside of you. It shows up as intuition, as chills when you hear something true, in that sudden inspiration that gives you a brilliant idea, in the almost uncontrollable urge to change everything. But then, why does most people only feel it occasionally? Because inner energy is like a hidden spring of water buried under the earth. If you don't know where to dig, you won't find it. If you don't have the discipline to keep the path open, it dries up again. And the most dangerous thing, over time you start to believe it never existed. Your life energy is the link between your body, your mind, and what connects you to something greater. It's the force that fuels your creativity, your drive to take action, your mental clarity. When it's flowing, you feel it. The world seems sharper. Your decisions feel lighter. Your presence becomes stronger. Now here's a practical application. Start paying attention to the moments when you feel most alive. When you lose track of time doing something. When your mind is focused, yet calm. When your body responds with ease, without effort. These moments are clues. They show the way back to your natural energy. Take a few seconds and think, when was the last time you felt truly energized in an authentic way? Not from coffee, not from external motivation, but from something that came from within you. Remember? Hold on to that memory. Because that's the starting point. The path begins there. This might be the hardest part to admit. You don't doubt your energy because it doesn't exist. You doubt it because you were taught to doubt it. From a very early age, we were shaped by systems that planted invisible limits in our minds. School taught us to memorize answers instead of asking questions. Society rewarded obedience, not curiosity. And families, often trying to protect us, ended up reinforcing ideas like, don't dream too big, don't stand out, stay where it's safe. And so, without realizing it, we learned to disbelieve in ourselves, to distrust our intuition, to ignore the sensations in our bodies, to think too much and feel too little. The energy that could propel us forward becomes just a muffled noise in the back of our minds. This is called mental programming. And no, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's the way the environment around us shapes the connections in our brain. Every time you were reprimanded for following your instincts, a synapse was weakened. Every time you were praised for being well-behaved, another was strengthened. Little by little, you stopped listening to yourself to please the world around you. And here's the point: that doubt you feel about your own energy is not natural. It was installed, but everything that's been installed can be uninstalled. Want a practical application? Observe your thoughts for just one day. Every time an idea or impulse comes up and your mind reacts with "this won't work," "it's not for me," "better not try," write it down. Then ask yourself, who taught me to think like this? You'll begin to notice that many of these voices aren't yours. Up until now, we've talked about inner energy as something you feel, but now let's go deeper. This energy has a biological basis. It has an address in your body, and it all starts in the brain and the nervous system. When you feel motivation, clarity, inner strength, it's not just a state of mind. It's the direct result of a neurochemical orchestra happening inside of you. Dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, endorphins, these are substances that determine how you feel, think, and act. And they're released according to the stimuli you receive, both external and internal. Your brain is not a fixed machine, it's plastic, and that's great news. Neuroplasticity is the ability of your nervous system to rewire itself, to create new connections, to change. In other words, you can train your brain to access higher energetic states. And you know what activates this? Focus, breathing, intention, movement, emotion. Everything you do with full awareness has a direct impact on your physiology. That's why when you meditate, breathe deeply, or connect with something that inspires you, you're literally changing your nervous system. You're reprogramming the pathways that used to lead to stagnation and creating new routes for vitality. Let's get practical. Try this exercise for 2 minutes. Sit with your spine straight. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold the air for 4 seconds. Exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat. Do this several times with full attention. What are you doing here? You're sending a signal to your brain that you're safe. And when the brain feels safe, it releases energy that was previously used for defense and makes it available to you for creation. This is the magic of biology. When you change your breath, you change your state. When you change your state, you change your behavior. And when you change your behavior, you change your life. We live in an era where everything has to be fast. Immediate results, a magic formula, the pill of the day. And awakening your inner energy doesn't work that way. It's not a button, it's a process. And like any real process, it requires something that scares a lot of people: commitment. Most people fail because they have deeply ingrained limiting beliefs. The kind of beliefs like, "I'm not capable. I've never been like this. This isn't for me. I've tried and it didn't work." And these ideas that seem so true are actually old programming, reinforced over the years by poorly processed experiences or other people's opinions. Another factor is mental laziness. That's right. Training your mind takes effort. Repeating affirmations, observing your thoughts, meditating, changing habits. It sounds simple, but it requires conscious effort. And it's a lot more comfortable to keep blaming the external world than to take responsibility for your own inner state. And there's one more crucial point: the fear of change. It may sound strange, but a lot of people are actually afraid of truly awakening their power, because that would bring responsibility. If I know I can change, then I can no longer hide behind excuses. That's scary. Because it means stepping out of the emotional comfort zone, facing wounds, and rewriting your own story. Want a practical application here? Ask yourself, what do I lose if I awaken my potential? It seems counterintuitive, but this question reveals the hidden blockages. Sometimes staying stuck is an unconscious way to protect yourself from failure, rejection, or exposure. Now listen to this carefully. Fear will keep existing, but you can choose to act even with fear. That's the turning point. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision not to let fear control you. Be brutally honest with yourself. Identify one belief, one excuse, or one habit that you've been using as a crutch, just one. Choose to break it down starting today. One step at a time, because right there, where most people give up, is where you can start to stand out. You can do all the practices in the world, listen to all the motivational audios, repeat 1,000 positive affirmations. But if you don't identify what's blocking the flow of your energy, you'll keep spinning your wheels. Think of your energy as a river. It wants to flow, naturally. But over time, stones, branches, debris accumulate traumas, frustrations, anger, fears, unprocessed hurts. And what was once a lively river starts to turn into a stagnant lake, still, lifeless. How do you recognize that your energy is blocked? Physical signs, constant fatigue. Even after a good night's sleep, heavy body, unexplained muscle aches, shallow breathing, slow digestion, weak immune system. Emotional signs, apathy, unexplainable discouragement, chronic procrastination, outburst of anger, frequent sadness, lack of enthusiasm for life. Mental signs, repetitive thoughts, excessive self-criticism, trouble focusing, feeling stuck in repeating patterns. All of this is your body and mind's way of saying, something inside here needs to be released. And you know what the silent villain is. Unexpressed emotions, stored anger, swallowed sadness, ignored fear. Every time you suppress an intense emotion without processing it, it doesn't disappear, it gets trapped in the body. And trapped energy over time turns into pain, emotional addiction, or just a lukewarm life. Start paying attention to which situations in your day drain you. People, environments, activities. Energy never lies. When you leave a place feeling worse than you went in, there's a leak or a block there, and you can choose to protect yourself or walk away. Don't normalize exhaustion, apathy, or discouragement. This isn't being an adult or part of life. It's a symptom of blocked energy, and you have the power to change that. Where to start the unblocking process? Before diving into advanced methods, breathe. Because the foundation of unblocking isn't in complicated practices. It's in 3 simple, powerful pillars: inner silence, observation of thoughts, and connection with breath. Inner silence. We live in a noisy world. Too much stimulation, notifications, comparisons, constant pressure. And you know what this external noise does? It reflects inside you. Your mind becomes a battlefield full of voices, obligations, expectations. And your energy, which is subtle and deep, can't emerge in that chaos. Silencing is starting to listen to what you really feel. It's not thinking about anything, it's creating internal space for something new to emerge. Even if it's just for 2 minutes a day, this is the first unblocking. Observation of thoughts. You are not your thoughts, but you live stuck in them as if you were. The practice of observing, without judgment, the mental patterns that repeat is liberating. It's like opening a window in a dark room. Want to do a little test? The next time you have an automatic thought, like, I'm not good enough or it's not going to work, just mentally say, interesting thought, and just observe. This takes away its power. It's a tiny step, but it's energy starting to release. Connection with breath breathing is your most direct and immediate tool for energy regulation. It's always with you, and when used consciously, it changes your physical, emotional, and mental state in minutes. Practical exercise. 3 times a day, stop for 1 minute. Inhale, counting to 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Do this with your eyes closed, focusing only on the air going in and out. Sounds like little, right? Try it for 7 days, the difference will be clear. These 3 elements, silence, observation, and breath, are like clearing the ground. They don't fix everything, but they prepare you to receive what's coming. They get you off autopilot and put you back in control. You've already started silencing. You've learned to observe. You're already breathing consciously. Now comes the next level, reprogramming. Yes, your mind can be reprogrammed. And this isn't a metaphor, it's neuroscience. Every time you repeat a thought pattern, you strengthen a neural pathway. And in the same way, every time you create a new intentional thought, you begin to open a new pathway. With repetition and intention, that new pathway becomes a road, and then a highway. How to do this? Conscious affirmations for real. We're not talking about mindlessly repeating cliches in the mirror. We're talking about feeling the truth of the affirmation in your body. Here's a powerful example. I choose right now to reconnect with the energy that's always been inside of me. Say this while looking yourself in the eye in the mirror. Feel every word. At first it might feel strange. That's normal. But keep going. The mind learns through repetition, especially when paired with emotion. Constructive questioning. Sometimes more powerful than affirming is questioning with intention. Use questions that open up space, like, what if I'm wrong about my own limits? What if my energy is just waiting to be activated? What would happen if I allowed myself to believe in me for 1 week? These questions don't require immediate answers. They plant good, fertile doubts that start to erode the old mental walls. Active writing. Grab a pen and paper. Write down phrases that you want to become your internal reality. Write in the present tense. Write as if it's already true. The simple act of materializing your thoughts on paper sends a direct message to your subconscious. Pick one affirmation and one question that resonate with you, and use them every day for 7 days, in front of the mirror or right after waking up. Make it a commitment. You no longer have to repeat the old story of scarcity, exhaustion, or incapability. You can indeed create a new narrative, a story where your energy is alive, flowing, and expanding. There are more advanced access routes techniques that directly work on the nervous system, the vibrational field, and expanded consciousness. They aren't magic, they're tools. And like any tool, they need to be used with respect, discipline, and presence. Here are some of the most powerful ones. Holotropic breathing created by Stanislav Grof. This technique uses intense rhythmic breathing to induce altered states of consciousness. It's a deep process of emotional and energetic unblocking. During the practice, your body enters a state of flow. Repressed emotions surface. Stagnant energies start to move. It's like unlocking an internal vault. It's not comfortable, but it's liberating. Important. This technique should be done under guidance, at least for the first few times. The intensity can be strong, but so are the results. Energy point meditation chakras. Your body has specific energy centers. They're like doors for the entry and exit of your vital energy. When you focus your attention on them, you start to activate them. A simple example. Focus for 5 minutes on the area of your chest, in the center of your torso. Breathe deeply and imagine a light pulsating there, expanding. That's your heart center. Consistent practice here can release emotional traumas and make room for a more intense energy of love and connection. You can also explore the base of your spine, root chakra, your belly button personal power, your forehead intuition, and so on. Each point holds a different portal. Sound frequencies and biofeedback. Today, technology can be your ally in unblocking. Binaural beats, solfeggio frequencies, isochronic tones. All of these directly affect your brain, helping to induce deep relaxation, focus, or energetic expansion. Here on YouTube or in specialized apps, you can find tracks that you can use during meditation, sleep, or moments of introspection. It's like tuning your system to a higher frequency. Additionally, biofeedback and neurofeedback devices allow you to monitor your brain activity and learn how to control your own mental and physiological states. It's literally training your mind just like you would train a muscle. But here's the thing, these techniques don't replace the basics. They enhance what you've already started. If there's something that can either speed up or completely block your energy flow, it's your emotions. They're like high-octane fuel, but if mismanaged, they can also become a handbrake in the middle of the road. Most of us have learned to deal with emotions in the worst possible way, suppressing or exploding. We bottle up what hurts, pretend everything's fine, swallow our tears. Or at the other extreme, we let anger take over. We project our pain onto others. We blame the world. Neither of these paths unblocks energy. Both trap it. Now listen to this. Emotion is energy in motion. It wants to circulate. When you feel anger, you're not wrong. When you feel sadness, fear, or euphoria, it's not weakness. The problem is never feeling. The problem is not knowing how to deal with what you feel. Each emotion has a direct impact on your energy field. Anger can turn into power and action if transmuted. Sadness can turn into empathy and emotional depth. Fear can become attention and focus. Joy raises your frequency and amplifies your presence. But if they aren't recognized and integrated, these same emotions turn into blocks. A knot in your stomach, a tightness in your chest, inexplicable fatigue. These are signs of trapped energy, and the body feels it all. Stop and feel. When a strong emotion arises, don't run from it. Stop. Close your eyes. Feel where it is in your body. Name it. I'm feeling angry. I'm afraid. Naming it is the first act of awareness. It takes the emotion out of the shadows. Breathe with it. Don't try to push it away. Breathe into it. Mentally say, I allow myself to feel this, without judgment. Move it. Emotion needs movement to circulate. Walk, dance, write, hit a pillow, cry. Give it a safe outlet. Choose to transmute it. Once the energy starts to dissolve, ask yourself, how can I use this as strength? What does this emotion want to teach me or transform? This is emotional alchemy. It's when you take pain and turn it into power. When you stop running and start dialoguing with what you feel. Choose an emotion you've been avoiding. Just one. Bring it to the light. Allow yourself to feel, breathe, transform. Do this today. No rush, no pressure, just with presence. Because true energetic unblocking doesn't happen when everything is calm. It happens when you can stay whole, even in the middle of the emotional storm. Awakening your inner energy is powerful. It's not about being plugged into 220 all the time, because true energy isn't about constant intensity, it's about rhythm, presence, and balance. When you start accessing higher states of vitality, motivation, and clarity, the natural impulse is to want to do everything, change everything, speed everything up. And here lies the risk: overload. Yes, there's a type of burnout that comes even from enthusiasm. It's when you get so excited about your own transformation that you forget to rest, nourish yourself, and integrate. And suddenly you're more tired than before you even started. That's why knowing how to maintain your energy is just as important as awakening it. How to avoid overload. Conscious pauses. Don't wait until you collapse to rest. Take small intentional breaks throughout the day. 5 minutes of breathing. 2 minutes with your eyes closed. A mindful sip of water. This isn't stopping, it's recharging. Cycles of intensity. Everything in nature works in cycles, seasons, waves, tides. You do too. Have periods of higher activity, yes, but also have periods of retreat, silence, and integration. Don't underestimate the power of strategic rest. Constant inner listening. Your body talks, all the time. Persistent fatigue, irritation without reason, difficulty focusing, all of this can be a sign of energy imbalance. And often the best response isn't doing more, it's doing less with more presence. Quality quantity. It doesn't matter how long you meditate or how many techniques you know. What matters is the level of presence in each thing you do. One conscious breath is worth more than 30 minutes of automatic meditation. This preserves energy and strengthens the system. Create your own energy maintenance routine today. It can be simple. 3 breaks a day, 1 moment of silence, 1 self-listening question at the end of the day. Observe how your body responds. There's no journey without stumbles, and that's okay. But there are certain mistakes that can completely block your energy unblocking process, and the worst part, they're so subtle that you might be making them without even realizing it. Energy transformation is real, but it respects time, rhythm, and layers. If you start thinking you're going to become a new person in 3 days, you're going to be frustrated. It's not an instant miracle, it's a living process. Rushing creates anxiety, and anxiety consumes energy. The result, you spin in circles. The key here is focus on consistency, not speed. Excessive comparison, looking to the side and seeing someone who seems more awakened, more centered, more fluid, and feeling less because of it. Big mistake. You don't know their story, their context, their struggles, and more. Every energy system is unique. What works for one person might not work for another. What matters is your path, and it's sacred. Misuse of techniques. Yes, it's possible to use a right technique in the wrong way. When you practice just to check the box, without presence, without intention, without surrender, it turns into an empty ritual. Energy responds to your real vibration. If you're meditating, thinking about what you need to do next, if you're breathing on autopilot, if you're affirming something without believing it, there's no unblocking happening. Technique without soul becomes a tool for frustration. Spiritual ego traps. This one's dangerous. You start to awaken, feel more peace, more clarity, and without realizing it, you start feeling better than others, more evolved, above the chaos. Be careful. This is the ego disguised as light. And true energy doesn't align with superiority. It's humble, compassionate, and conscious. The true sign of progress isn't feeling special, it's feeling connected. It's no use having a deep awakening if, by Monday morning, everything goes back to the way it was before. Here are real, possible, and practical ways to integrate your energy into your everyday life. Before grabbing your phone, before checking any notifications, sit on the bed, breathe deeply 3 times, and repeat a phrase that reconnects you. It can be, "Today I choose to move with awareness and energy." This takes 30 seconds, but it changes the tone of your entire day. Wake up 15 minutes earlier. Use that time for yourself. Guided meditation, conscious breathing, visualization. It's a commitment to your energy. It doesn't need to be complicated, it needs to be real. Set a discrete alarm on your phone every 3 hours. When it rings, stop, breathe, feel your body. Observe your state. This simple practice creates awareness interruptions that help avoid autopilot. Before going to sleep, ask yourself, where did my energy flow today? Where did it get blocked? What can I do differently tomorrow? Write 1 sentence of gratitude and 1 of intention for the next day. This aligns you before sleep and prepares the field for the next day. While doing the dishes, walking to the store, or taking a shower, be present, breathe, feel the water, the smell, the movement. When you're present, you're energetic. When you're in the now, you're connected. If you've made it this far, it's not by accident. Something inside you recognizes this message. Maybe not with words, but with a feeling, a shiver, a warmth in your chest, a desire to remember who you are. You've just received a manual, not external, but internal. A map of reconnection, of reactivation, of returning to your center. But let me tell you something that no one says. The manual alone doesn't transform anything. What transforms is what you choose to do with it. From now on, the responsibility is yours. Not to handle everything, but to commit to small, consistent steps. To stop self-sabotaging. To stop waiting for a savior. And to start acting as the energetic, creative, and powerful being that you are. Even with fear. Even with fatigue. Even in the chaos. You're not starting from scratch. You're simply coming back home. The manual has been delivered. Now it's up to you to write the next page. Are you with me? Get ready to take the next step in your personal and spiritual evolution. In the Quantum Thinking Challenge, In 21 days, you will have access to exercises and practices to reprogram your mind, align your energy, and start co-creating a new reality. The success stories I've already received are truly inspiring. Could the next transformation story be yours? Check out the first pinned comment.